Starz smash hit historical time-traveling drama Outlander has been a massive success since bursting onto our screens back in 2014, and with it potentially soon coming to an end, its star Sam Heughan is thought to be considering a huge new role as we eagerly await the 7th installment. Today we are discussing everything we know about Sam Heughan's potential major new role away from Outlander. So don't go anywhere, let's jump straight in then. What do we know about this new role? Fans of Outlander who are pining for more Sam Heughan, fear not, for your leading man has possibly just bagged himself a shiny new job. The Scotsman rose to fame for his portrayal of James Fraser on our favorite show, but should it come to an unpopular end after the 7th season, then fans won't have to wait too long to see Heughan once again. He had been tipped to become the next James Bond, but he himself has since poured cold water on those suggestions. Instead, Sam will potentially feature in the film adaptation of the popular PlayStation game Days Gone. Similar to another video game which was adapted for TV, The Last of Us, this one is also a post-apocalyptic nightmare which has turned the majority of the population into vicious zombie-like creatures. The show will reportedly take place in Oregon just like the game, and Heughan is thought to be in the driving seat to star as Deacon St. John. The game follows the character of St. John, a reformed motorcycle bad boy, who was once a member of a biker gang. He has to figure out how to survive as the world descends into chaos and also wade through the zombie-like creatures in a bid to get back to the love of his life, who is of course presumed dead. Whatever happens, we think Heughan in the role of a bad boy biker is exactly what the world needs to see. What do you guys think? What else do we know then? Stay tuned to find out. Well, as far as we know, Sheldon Turner will be on board as showrunner for this one, and it is his love of motorcycles which will be at the very epicenter of the film. Having recently taken part in the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride in his native Scotland, the actor is no stranger to motorbikes, having taken part in the ride for charity, specifically mental health and cancer. The show will see him make a glorious return to two wheels, and fans will be pretty darn excited at the prospect if the comments under the picture he posted with his bike after the ride is anything to go by. He managed to raise 25,000 euros during the charity ride, so there's no doubt whatsoever that he'll be at home on two wheels. We're still not sure whether or not the upcoming season of Outlander will be the last, but if it does turn out to be, then we won't have a long time to wait to see Heughan again, as it's thought Days Gone will be on our screens sometimes within the next year or so. Would you guys like to see Heughan on two wheels? Heughan has been discussing his character of Jamie Fraser now. Stay with us. With the news that Season 7 of Outlander will more than likely return early next year, Sam Heughan has been discussing the changes his character has been going through. One of the most popular leading men around right now, Heughan agrees that Jamie has gone through something of a change since those heady days of Season 1. Speaking recently, Sam claims that Fraser has matured gracefully, before going on to compare him to a politician, someone like Colin Mackenzie, and going into detail about how the character is now different from his younger years. Heughan said, "He now sees the bigger picture, and we're dealing with things like history, like actual events. Jamie knows each move can have ripple effects and consequences." And whilst we obviously see what he means, Sam went one further by suggesting Jamie is now more aware than ever of his mortality. Heughan said he believes that his character, quote, thinks about that a lot more now, alluding to the fact that Jamie has been through the wars a little during the show's run. Heughan went on to say, "He's not worried about dying, but I think it's the consequences of dying. I think talking about Jamie's 9 lives, he's had probably 6 or 7 of them." He also suggested that he pays a higher price each time he gets into one of these situations nowadays. What do you guys think of Sam's words? Do you agree? Let us know below. Next up, Diana Gabaldon has been discussing the BBC and Scottish independence. Back in 2014, around the same time the Scottish independence vote, Diana Gabaldon was contacted by BBC to make sure she did not make any inflammatory statements surrounding the issue. During the tour of the country for the Edinburgh International Book Fair, Gabaldon revealed that the broadcaster wanted to make sure she stayed neutral on this topic, which she admitted she was so she didn't get into trouble. Speaking recently whilst back in the country for the Edinburgh International Book Festival, the Outlander author revealed how the BBC appealed to her to make sure she didn't take one particular side. Gabaldon said that at the time that she was sympathetic to self-determination, but decided not to comment to any further as she did have friends on both sides. sides of the debate, and ultimately as an American, she didn't think it was her place to comment. Of course, some might see this point of view as somewhat refreshing, an American not getting involved in another country's problems, and asked during her most recent tour of the country if she was still sitting on the fence with regards to Scottish independence. She revealed, quote, "I'd say so, yeah. My son-in-law is Scottish, and he was an anti-independence for good reasons. According to him, it was quite a deal last time I came to the book fair." In fact, this was during that year, 2014, the BBC called me up to interview me cautiously beforehand and made sure I would not make any inflammatory statements about independence during the interview. Wow, what else did Gabaldon have to say then? Stay tuned to find out. Well, looking back on the period, Gabaldon revealed that the BBC were fine with what she said. She remembered being interviewed alongside Tom Devine, who, as she put it, was vigorously pro-independence. She said there was also another gentleman being interviewed but didn't recall who it was, saying he was also on the side of independence, quote, but a little more wishy-washy about it. Gabaldon went on to explain how when she asked about her views outright, she admitted to being on the fence, but did concede quite hilariously that if she pushed, she would probably take the side of the Scots, saying, "I said, that said, I am an American, and so you know, in principle, we're sort of in favor of people being independent of England." Of course, that comment brought a ton of laughs along with it, which it was almost certainly the right way to approach the topic. Whether or not the show's leading man, Sam Heughan, would agree with her views, we're not so sure. Gabaldon was asked then why, on reflection, she thought the BBC would care about what she thought about the topic, with her going on to suggest it was almost certainly because, quote, they didn't want to inflame the controversy any more than unavoidable because they couldn't be seen to be taking sides one way or another. What do you guys make of the BBC vetting Gabaldon's interview responses? Let us know below. And finally, Sam Heughan has joined TikTok. Stay with us. Scotsman Heughan, at 42 years old, might well be the oldest person ever to open a TikTok account. Of course, we're joking, but not about him opening an account. The Outlander star recently took to the social networking site to provide fans with a little information about his daily routine, but may have shared a little too much. Having only recently set up the account, Heughan already has thousands of followers and has given them a little taste of what he's been up to recently by dropping a few videos, all with a Mexican theme. In the first video, it appears he might actually be lost, as he alludes to the fact that his driver possibly doesn't know where he's going before he reveals a slightly odd detail that he has just had his third urination after 8 hours in the car. Slightly odd thing to share, Sam, but then asks if there are, quote, any more beers left with a cheeky grin. In another video, he attempts to make tortillas, but this time, gladly, there's no talk of peeing. Fans were excited about what sorts of content the star might drop in the future, with some suggesting a Try a Dram with Sam video could be up next, with others hoping for a What's Hot or Not segment. Have you seen his TikTok videos yet? As usual, thanks for dropping in today, and remember to tune in again next time when we will be discussing all sorts of other cool bits and pieces. And why not do us a solid by liking and sharing today's video, whilst also subscribing to the channel. Bye!